All right, guys, so I came out to, I need to get this thing inspected. It's actually a couple months out of date. And my wife's been driving this car. So I get in it, start it up, getting ready to go to the inspection station. Did my initial walk around and noticed that the check engine light's on. So that doesn't surprise me. As long as it's running, you can have all kinds of lights on the dash, and the wife will assume everything's great. So got the scanner hooked up. We're going to take a look at this and see what it's going to take to get that check engine light out. So I'm just using the CRP 919 EBT by Launch. Any of these scan tools would probably work that I've got. I try to rotate through them just to make sure that, you know, they do what they're supposed to do. I'm just going to do an all system scan, and we're going to see what the code is, and then we'll figure out what we're going to have to do to get through it. Put a new head unit in this car too. Very cool deal. In fact, what I should have done was I can actually, you can install apps on this head unit, and I've got my MooCar little VCI software installed on here. I should have pulled that up and used it instead. Okay, but we're already in it on the launch. So let's see what we got. Okay, so we've got one code in the ECM. Ignore those codes down there on the body control module. Those are just light codes. I got some aftermarket lights and the fog lights, and so that's, I think, what's causing that. But okay, so we got a 496. That's a purge flow during non-purge. So in a non-purge situation, the purge solenoid's closed, but it's sensing that it's still being purged, meaning that usually the purge solenoid is not closed, that it's bypassing. And an easy way to check that, we'll go in here to the actuation test. Right here, let's see, Evap emission system. The first thing I want to do is see if I can hear it clicking. So we're going to just command the purge solenoid, and hopefully I can hear it clicking from inside the car here. Okay, so let's see. Right now there's no commanded state, so we're just going to increase. And I'm hearing a fast clicking. Let's go to increase again. So that's at 10% duty cycle. I'm going to move the camera out under the hood. That's 30%. So hopefully you can hear that. The solenoid is definitely able to click. That means that you got power and ground to it. But even if you didn't have power and ground, the solenoid would be closed. So let's go to this purge and seal. See what kind of test we got here. And what we should be able to do is, okay, so right now we're venting. The purge solenoid is at a 0% commanded state. And yes, we do have our, so I do like the Launch, because it gives you exactly what you need up here. So if you see the fuel tank pressure sensor, so that's the pressure that's in the tank right now, which is pretty much, it's at ambient pressure. If you take the cap off, that probably won't move at all. It'd still stay right where it's at. So theoretically, if I go to not venting and start the vehicle, that pressure should not change if the purge solenoid is sealing off the vacuum going back to the fuel tank. So I'm going to go to not venting, and then I'm going to start the car. Okay, command state's not venting. The vent valve is in the not venting position, so the fuel tank is not vented. So if it starts pulling a vacuum, we're going to start seeing a negative change here at the fuel tank pressure sensor. We should not, if the purge solenoid's sealing it off, we should not see a change on that number. And yeah, we are seeing a change. -3, so that's a vacuum. There's a vacuum being pulled on the fuel tank right now. So that purge solenoid is not sealing completely off. It's definitely bypassing it. It's allowing vacuum back to the tank when it should not. Yeah, and it's... I went ahead and hit venting. I'm going to let it start venting. So this car is going to need a purge solenoid. So I'm going to get to the purge solenoid and then I'll turn the camera back on. Alright guys, so to get to this purge solenoid, we got to take this cover off. Pretty simple. And then the purge solenoid is actually right here. So we'll take this little deal off. I'm going to go ahead and put that oil cap back on just to make sure I don't drop anything. There. Those little pins out, and then I think this thing will pop right up off here. Okay, let me get the camera mounted here. Ten millimeter bolt. Once you take that out, this thing should pop out of here. And let's see, we're going to disconnect the line, disconnect the connector, and I want to get my Mighty Vac, and we're going to test this thing by pouring a vacuum on it. Let me get this O-ring off. So I just snapped the O-ring off of this so I can get my hose on it. Because if you put a hose onto the end of that, simulating car vacuum, this should be completely sealed off. So when I pump it up, we should be able to pull a vacuum on it. And you can see we are not, if I block this end off, then we should be able to. That's what it should be doing. So let me go get a new one. Alright guys, so I got the new one, just aftermarket. I went ahead and taken the O-ring off because I want to make sure that this one will seal off the way it's supposed to. That's the way a good one should look. So it's completely sealed off. So, put the O-ring back on. I'm just going to spray that O-ring just literally a little tiny bit, just to make sure it slides into that hole okay. And that new one even came with a new bolt. All right, let me get this put back together. We're going to hook the scan tool back up to it. We're going to clear that fault, and then we're going to do that test again just to make sure that it's working. All right, guys, so I just got the solenoid installed. The engine covers back on. We're just going to go through that quick test to make sure that the solenoid's working. Then I'm going to clear the codes, and after about a day or two's worth of driving, should be able to go get it inspected. And we're just going to go straight into the, well, that's not what I wanted. I accidentally hit that. go straight into the ECU. This is an automatic. Actuation test. Evap. And purge and seal. All right, so right now you can see the fuel tank's 0.14 inches of H2O. I'm going to, right now the tank is venting. I'm going to hit not venting, start the engine, and that number should not move. And that little amount that it moved, that's perfectly fine. That's perfectly acceptable. So if I hit just 10%, you can see. So right now the purge solenoid is at 0%, so it's completely closed. If I hit 10%, the purge solenoid will start actuating at a 10% duty cycle, and you'll see that fuel tank pressure, and you'll see what it does. So that's what it was doing with the old one, even though it was completely shut. So, and here in a minute, once it pulls enough vacuum, you'll see that the vent solenoid will start venting the tank. And that's a safety measure to make sure that it doesn't, that the tank doesn't collapse. Usually it's around 13 or, yeah, there it goes, 13 or 14 inches of H2O. Anyway, we're done. That fixed the problem. I want to go ahead and go over here, and we're going to clear everything out, and then drive it for a day or two, and then it should be good to go with getting a state inspection. Just make sure that everything is clear, no trouble codes. Okay, anyway, that's it. You guys take care. We'll see you.